Good morning, my name is Keylor Garcia and I will be the facilitator of this course LM 1032, Técnicas de Lectura en Inglés 2. In this lesson number 1, we will talk about imagery, the use of figurative language, and how to search for keywords in a text that writers use to connect our 5 senses to what they want to communicate. So let's start.
Imagery in Literature, Session 1. Let's start by defining what is imagery. And of course, imagery means to use figurative language to represent objects, actions, ideas in such a way that they are going to appeal our physical senses. Words that are going to be keywords, for example, colors, black, white, yellow, green, red, words like soft, hard, words like big, small. Those are words that are going to convey meaning in such a way that our brains are going to imagine or create mental pictures of the things that the authors and writers are trying to communicate. Of course, remember that those keywords are going to work or are going to be related to our physical senses. The sense of sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch, and of course are going to help us when we read a story or a text to get the meaning of the things that an author or a writer wants to communicate to us. Things, for example, like colors, sizes, textures, sounds or noise, or the taste of a fruit. Let's see some examples so we can see which are the keywords and which is the sense that is going to be related to those sentences and keywords. The first one, it was dark and dim in the forest. The words dark and dim are visual images, of course. Number 2, the children were screaming and shouting in the fields. And of course, those two words, screaming and shouting, are going to be related to our sense of hearing. He whiffed the aroma of brewed coffee. Those two words that you see there are going to be related to the sense of smell. The girl ran her hands on a soft satin fabric. Soft, of course, is going to be related to touch. The fresh and juicy orange is very cold and sweet. Juicy and sweet are going to be related to the sense of taste. But in this sentence, for example, the word cold is going to be also related to the sense of touch. And of course, we have to talk about figures of speech, because authors are going to use figures of speech to communicate ideas and to create mental images or mental pictures in our brains. We are going to explore 4 figures of speech here. The first one is going to be a simile. A simile is a comparison between two things using comparison words. A metaphor, that is also a figure of speech to compare things, but in this case we are not going to have comparison words. We are not going to use them. Personification is a figure of speech in which we are going to give animals and things human characteristics. Onomatopoeia, that is going to be a figure of speech in which we're going to have words that imitate sounds of things like thunder, like bang, like the sounds of the animals, like meow, or others. Examples. Here are some more examples of imagery. The old man took the handful of dust and sifted it through his fingers. Okay, so try to guess which are the key words here and which is the sense that is involved. Okay, so we have took, we have handful, we have sifted, we have fingers, and of course those words are giving us the idea of the sense of touch. Let's see example number 2. Try to guess which are the key words and which is the sense involved in the sentence. The starry night sky looked so beautiful that it begged him to linger, but he reluctantly left for home. Well, we have starry night sky, we have beautiful, we have the word looked, and all those words are telling us that the sense here is sight. The fragrance of spring flowers made her joyful. So try to guess which are the key words and which is the sense. Of course, we have fragrance, spring flowers, and that is related to the sense of smell. See sentence number 4. The sound of a drum in the distance attracted him. So we have the word sound, drum, okay, and those key words are related to the sense of hearing. The people traveled long distances to watch the sunset in the north. Here we have watch and sunset, and of course that sentence is related to the sense of sight. Well, here are some more examples that you can make as practice, some extra practice for you, and more examples of imagery if you want to practice a little bit more. Well, of course, the function of imagery in literature is to generate a vibrant and graphic presentation of a scene that appeals to as many of the reader's senses as possible. Remember that the idea here is that authors are going to try to appeal to your senses so you can connect with what they are writing. It is going to help your imagination to imagine the characters, to imagine the place where something is happening. Of course, the last function that it's going to have is making what you are reading beautiful through the use of metaphors, similes, personifications, onomatopoeias, and other figures of speech.
So as you can see, understanding the way in which writers use imagery help us to use those keywords in a text to create a mental picture related to what the text is describing or communicating. Using figurative language is a nice way in which authors communicate their ideas in a beautiful way, but also in a way in which we use our 5 senses to create a picture in our minds. And as a conclusion, it is important to check for those keywords that touch our senses when we read a text. Writers use those keywords to connect their ideas in our brains, and that is going to keep us interested in what the text says and what a writer or an author wants to communicate.